Just ahead on Crossroads, the Marion Fire Department is staying busy this winter dealing with all kinds of hazards.
Ashley McKnight joins us to talk about the Community Foundation Scholarship Program.
Don Hallett from Kelly's Flowers will give us a touch of spring in the studio.
And Ivan Hose is scooping out all the cravings for all ice cream lovers. It's all just ahead on Crossroads. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Crossroads. I'm Shaylee Clark.
And I'm Randall King, and it is good to be back once again. You know, there's something about that post-holiday time. I don't know if anybody else feels it, but I certainly do. And I know with the university schedule, it kind of complicates it. But you kind of have that period where you're not really back into a routine. I finally feel like I'm getting back into it.
This whole week has just been a crazy one, to say the least, because that Monday off completely threw my whole schedule off. So starting over on a fresh week next week will be good, at least for me. So
no, it's been a good holiday, and it's also kind of good to get back into the routine, even though it's the doldrums of winter, at least outside. Inside, lots of things going on. Of course, lots of people start to really pay attention to basketball now, and that happens on our campus and on our TV station, but people are paying attention to their high schools. They're paying attention to Indiana University is doing well again, believe it or not.
I do like Indiana University.
Caught her attention on that.
You know, I may not be the most athletic watching individual out there, but you know, when those big games come around, and especially IU, I'm on top of that.
And there's one more football game to be played. But the show today is going to start out talking about a very typical winter problem and something we've talked about on the show before. Many years you've been on it, and we've talked about firefighters. We've talked about public safety people and the great work that they do, and you got a chance to hang out a little bit more with some of them.
And this summer especially, I had the great memory forever of hanging out with them and taking a ride on Engine 1, first ride on their first call, and I was really excited to have the chance to go back. And this time I rode along with the firefighters at Station 6 and learned a few ways to keep from sparking a visit this winter.
Nobody wants to see those flashing red lights show up at their home. But the snowy season and cold temperatures can make these visits a little more frequent. The firefighters at Station 6 are always ready to gear up and head to the emergency. Captain Tracy Kilgore knows the different risks that come with winter.
The season, when you get into cold weather and how people try to heat their homes to where the risk of structure fires go up a little bit just because of the cold conditions.
Space heaters and dirty furnace filters are just some of the ways that bring the squealing sirens into your neighborhood. And as we followed along with our cameras, demonstration turned into the real deal when fire broke out in Marion's KFC restaurant. Station 6 engineer Heath Duke says it's all about making people aware of the problems before they happen.
To be in this service, your first thing is to pre-plan. Try to eliminate all the dangers as possible. Overloading your circuits with too many heaters, not the right extension cords, but it's just precautionary, usually can help us further and further along so accidents do not happen.
The firefighters are ready to save the moment during a fire, but one way people can protect themselves is by keeping their smoke detectors activated.
Smoke detectors save lives, and something that can be a minor incident turns into something catastrophic just because of a working smoke detector and or not having one. And just wanted to let you know that they do save lives.
The Marion Fire Department partnered with Lowe's back in October to give out 300 free smoke detectors. Anyone is able to get one by visiting the fire headquarters. This program helps the fire department make sure people stay safe when the unthinkable happens.
Anything can happen at any time, and it's out of our control, but you try to eliminate all the unnecessary dangers. And I guess my first thing I would say is get the smoke detector just in case something crazy would happen, you know, a candle or a furnace. Anything can happen at any given time.
To have a program set up in October and just a few months later, you know, you went on a call and you tried everything to get in that house to save that person and you still wasn't able to do it, and you find out, man, we got them. We got the smoke detectors, you know, And if they would have just had that.
But accidents do happen, and these firefighters are always ready to protect their community.
So it's not like I'm going to work. Yeah, we have good days and bad days. Usually it's said if you have a bad day, someone died. But I feel like I have a job that's real rewarding. And I get to help people every day.
No one can stop every tragedy from happening, but a few extra steps can eliminate the chances. The Marion Fire Department will continue fighting the fires, but more importantly, trying to keep them from happening, so that those flashing lights and sirens don't end up at your doorstep.
Shaylee, I know it's fun to ride along in the truck. It's also very instructional, whether they're doing it, they're on a real call or they're just demonstrating for you. You just get a feel of what it's like to be in that response situation.
It is, and every little kid dreams of doing that. And I never got to ride in a fire truck as a kid, so I'm glad that now that I'm 21, I get the experience. And second time was just as great as the first.
Yeah, and boy, have they been busy this year. I mean, maybe it's not out of the normal, but it just seemed like from Christmas to now, it's one thing after another, and that's why people have got to be smart.
And winter is a misconception. You wouldn't think that the fires are the worst then, but they are, just because of heaters and things like that.
Yeah, human error, big deal.
Exactly. When we come back, hear about what's happening at the Community Foundation.
Ashley McKnight will be here to join us and talk about scholarship opportunities. Well, welcome back to Crossroads. Ashley McKnight is here from the Community Foundation because it's a very important time in Grant County, and that's when a lot of young people have a chance to get some scholarship money. And Ashley, that's right in front of us, so let's talk about that process.
Yes, January 28th is coming up very quickly, and that is the due date for all of our scholarship applications. And that's 129 different scholarship opportunities that we have. Last year we gave away over $500,000 to Grant County students. And then students also attending Taylor and Indiana Wesleyan and Ivy Tech that might not necessarily be Grant County natives. So we're planning to do it again. The funding is available to do that again. And January 28th is the big day.
Okay, so depending on when you're seeing us, that date may have passed, but we want to make sure those who see us in time. I'm sure that the students know about it, but sometimes the parents need to be that extra prod. Do you find a lot of people still are surprised, or they don't know that they're going to win? Because I'm going to let you answer, but I was going to say, my daughter applied way back when she was a Marion High School student, and we didn't think, with her coming to Indiana Wesleyan and all that she would compete. But even just, it was a small award, but it helped with books. And I think that's what people don't realize. There's a lot of small awards. There's money to be had.
We're getting more and more larger awards. We're kind of moving away from the small awards because, as any college student knows, as any parent knows, books are expensive. And even just to buy a book, you sometimes might need $50, $60, $70. So we're moving away from smaller scholarships into larger scholarships, more impactful scholarships. But we give anywhere from, try to do a minimum $500 scholarship, now all the way up to full tuition, which would be $11,000. And one thing about scholarships that is often confusing for people, scholarships are tuition, books, and fees. Scholarships do not cover room and board or additional expenses for a college student. So a scholarship from the Community Foundation will only be for tuition, books, and fees. And that check would go directly to the school. And any extra money would then be returned to the Community Foundation if the tuition need is covered there. So if a student has full tuition already covered, we would scholar them maybe for books and fees, not necessarily additionally.
But as Randall was saying, every little bit counts. And as someone, a student, I am, and I'm able to come to a university like this because of scholarships. Do you ever hear stories from past students that have received your scholarships that were just like, wow, thank you so much, and they kind of told you their stories at all?
Yes, and it's such a heartwarming job because of that. Just a family recently said, we don't know what we would have done without you. One of our sons was a Lilly Scholar, and the other one was scholared for full tuition last year, and just made a huge difference for them. And now, they're off and pursuing their college careers, and one of them's about to graduate, and so it's extremely rewarding to see that effort go going so well and making such a difference in students' lives.
So if you're seeing the show on Monday, that is Wednesday. So that's Wednesday the 28th.
Yeah.
Hustle on that one. We want to give you a chance to talk about some of the other things because some people only think community foundation scholarships, and that's a big deal. You guys have work that you do all year, and you're starting on a new one called The Big Idea, right?
Yes. Yeah. What's the big idea? And we've just recently put a little teaser in the paper and promising that we're going to give more information, and we're going to do that February 2nd at the Marion Public Library at 11 o'clock. We're inviting all the nonprofit leaders of the community to come and be with us for this meeting, and we're going to give a grant away this summer for up to $150,000 to one of our nonprofits. Could be less, but it's up to $150,000.
And that's made possible because of all the people who give to the foundation, is that right?
Yeah, it's private donations. They go into the endowment, and we had a wonderful year. We had over $3 million in donations this calendar year come in. And that goes right into the endowment, and because it's endowed money, we can use that for generations to come and keep impacting for that.
And you said that anyone is able to come to this meeting.
Yes, yeah, it's an open meeting. Any nonprofit leaders of the community that are interested in learning more about how to apply. First, we're going to be accepting preliminary, like a letter of intent, and they'll be able to go online and fill that out, but we'll have a lot more information at that meeting.
It's important to know because people may think, well, there's just charitable giving is hurting in Grant County. We've had some tough times, but there's still a lot of good hearts, and there's money there if they'll just follow through. And we love the work that the foundation does. And if you want any more information on the Community Foundation, we do encourage you to go to the website. It's really easy, givetogrant.org, givetogrant.org. And that's where you learn all about the work that they do. It is all year long. It is more than scholarship, and we thank you and Dawn and all the great people that are part of that. Thanks, Ashley McKnight.
Thank you. Well, when we come back, we're going to get a little touch of spring.
Yeah, Don Hallett's going to be here from Kelly Flowers with some tips and some great arrangements. Stay with us.
Welcome back to Crossroads. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and so is spring. So
Amen.
Don Hallett from Kelly's Flowers is here to give us a few ideas.
And always with Don, we say the best thing to do for flower arrangement is to let Don do it and don't let us get our hands dirty. So what do you got for us today?
They've done well before. Well, it's the middle of winter. Well, actually, a third of winter is done, but it's time to spruce up your house.
That's good news.
It
Yeah,
is. I mean, we
that.
follow those days. Days are getting longer. Way to spruce up your home through the winter is to add some color. Great way to do that is with the spring bulbs that are out. And we brought several in today. This is a hyacinth plant, very, very fragrant. It will fill your house with fragrance. I buy one for my wife every year. It fills their entire office suite. Another one is tulips, of course. We have tulips that are coming up. Best time to get them is when they're just starting to grow, and you can watch them come up and watch them bloom.
And this would be something you'd transplant?
Yes, you could take these, plant them in the garden in the fall. They need to be in the ground for the winter because they won't bloom if they don't get cold. These particular plants, which I really love, are cyclamens, and they're just terribly, terribly unique. They're a bulb plant, can't be put outside here because the frost will kill them, but I like to call them butterfly plants because the blooms kind of remind me a little bit of a butterfly. And so these are great things to put in the house, give you a great feel for the rest of winter, which is going to be gone soon.
What do we call them?
They're cyclamens. Neat thing about these is the leaves on them as well are variegated, have different colors and different shades, and so they're very unique even after they're done blooming. But they will bloom and bloom and bloom, and when the bloom dies, you just take the stem and just pull it out and just rip it right out of the bulb, and it just keeps on going.
Oh.
So those are fun things to have in your house now for the rest of the winter and to brighten it up and give you some smell good and some brightness. And so we're going to kind of play with that today. We're going to do some tulips in a container here today, and we'll dress them up a little bit.
Oh.
So we have some things that are...
I love how you just plop that down and it's already beautiful and it's not even official yet. Even the pre-arrangement is nice.
I haven't started. We're going to start right now. So we're just going to start sticking them in here. And what I did is I took the top of this container and I put a little tape on there to help hold the tulips in so that it gives them a little more stability. And we just take them, cut them off, and just stick them down in there just randomly. And they're going to hold themselves up. And tulips, the funny thing about tulips is they will continue to grow after they're cut. And so you'll see the stems get a little bit longer, or they'll lean towards the light. And you know what? It's fine if they lean over the edge too, because that gives them character.
And I really like that tape idea, because every time I seem to go to put my flowers in the vase, they just kind of flop over. Well, they never look like the store.
Yep, it gives them something to hold them together. And with tulips, because they have such natural leaves anyway, you know, you really don't have to put a lot of other greens in with them. So we're just going to pop these in here. Yes, I throw stuff all over the place, but that's the way it works. I get a broom and a shovel and clean up.
Worthwhile.
Okay. There we go. Put this right in here. Shift them around a little bit. We're going to add a little bit of color in. This is a product called Genestra. It's available in the spring. It's beautiful because it's really airy and wispy. And we're just going to pop some of that in with this.
So I'm assuming if you wanted to have the satisfaction of doing it yourself, you've got this raw material.
I do
that you could buy that?
I do have.
I mean, I wouldn't want to do that because I'd want Don to make it for me and then my wife to think I did it.
There you go. There you go.
In fact, I got my eyes on this one today. We'll cut a deal after we go off camera. But I mean, a lot of people like that kind of feel of doing it themselves.
Yeah, and it's not that hard, really. It isn't. It's just you watch it and look at it and you have a feel for it, and it's going to happen. And so we've added a little filler into here, which makes the purple and the yellow pop. And these, of course, we have some pussy willows today. And they're really not quite to the point where they're going to come out yet. But if you have a forsythia bush in your yard, or you have a curly willow tree in your yard, you can go out and cut them, put them in water, and they'll start to green up. And they'll root like these are rooting now. And the same thing will happen to the pussy willows. They'll
so even though it doesn't look like it out there, there's still life going on, and you can do something with them.
And you can just go out and cut them and put them in. Oops, that one wasn't cooperating. Yeah, it was. And it just gives it character. It gives it a little more volume. And it makes it very, very natural.
And these are just things people can have in their backyard.
Yeah, this would be a curly willow tree. And
I was gonna say I don't think of green and purple and yellow as necessarily being all together, but you made it work.
Oh yeah, purple
it's
and
Marion
yellow
Giant, a little close enough to Marion Giant.
That works for this.
That works too.
And they'll just shift around. You can play with them. I do it all the time. I'm one of those people that walks through the store and goes, I don't like that there, I'll move it. So we do.
A lot of good ways that you can really bring spring in a little early.
Absolutely. Yep, and you know, Valentine's Day, everybody thinks roses. That's fine, but you can go outside the box. Tulips are great for Valentine's Day.
I was going to say, that's the fun thing. I mean, guys only kind of have, you know, one dimension here, and they think flowers and candy, but an arrangement would be a nice touch.
Oh, yeah, and it's just anything you want to do.
All right. Don,
perfect. Well, thank you, Don. And if you want to have professionals handle your flowers, you know, Valentine's Day coming up, hint, hint, you can call Kelly's at 664-2323.
Always good.
And so thank you again, Don, for coming in and giving us all these tips.
One of our regulars. Yeah. I like what you leave. You make the place look so much better.
Oh, enjoy winter.
And it smells nice, too.
It does.
Well, when we come back, see a place where every ice cream flavor is possible.
We're going to go get a taste of Ivanhoe's. Stay with us. Welcome back to Crossroads, and we have a big moment here where I've got to confess something on Shaylee's behalf that I found out a few weeks ago, and I was shocked, and she said I could share it, and that is Shaylee does not like ice cream.
I know.
I can't even believe I said next to her all
It's
this
about time I
time.
tell the world, but no, I don't like ice cream. I've never craved it. I don't remember a time ever thinking, oh, ice cream sounds good.
And anyone's tried to evangelize you, and it's
everyone.
It's not worked.
You know the trauma of when the parent in elementary school would bring in the ice cream, and I was just the one kid that was like, no thanks.
We'll let you keep sitting here, but I don't know if we'll let you play in any reindeer games anymore. But you've got to love ice cream, even this time of year. When people say, oh, it's cold outside, I say, what's your point? And that's what a lot of people down in Ivanhoe's in Upland also think, and they've got customers waiting in line, except for you. It's just a small local business, but according to most people who've tried it, it's a huge hit. Most people who tried it. Marissa Hinderacher talked to some cold January ice cream lovers and found out everyone has a favorite.
We always have a kid Whatever your flavor fancy, there's a good chance you'll find it at Grant County's most famous ice cream shop.
Cookie dough.
Almond fudge shake.
Fresh chocolate.
My favorite's fresh strawberry sundaes.
I like cookie dough.
Cooked moose tracks. The hot fudge and peanut butter.
It's sweet caramel cream milkshake.
And I like moose tracks too.
Chocolate.
Ivanhoe's celebrates 50 years of sweets in 2015, 50 years and 100 flavors of sundaes and shakes.
My favorite right now is probably either the Turtle Treasures or the Red Velvet Cake.
Max and Barbara, your orders are ready?
One of Ivanhoe's most loved traditions is joining, or at least attempting, the 100 Club.
Where you either do all 100 sundaes or all 100 shakes.
Ivanhoe's is about more than the fun of the 100 Club. For most people, it's just the place to hang out.
You know, we always push everyone have an excellent attitude. You know, that's what we really strive for. So everybody has that home feeling. So that's what everybody really feels like it is, like a place close to home, really.
Just down to earth hometown.
And not just the local community, but it reaches beyond.
Whether they indulge every week,
At least once and sometimes twice a week.
or just when the cravings hit, these sugar junkies leave satisfied, year after delicious year. For Crossroads, I'm Marissa Hinderacher.
You know, the fun thing about Ivanhoe's is I think even when I lived in central Indiana, outside of Indianapolis, people went all the way to Ivanhoe's from there. So it's not just a Grant County thing. I mean, people come from all over.
Yeah, and you can get other food there, and you don't have to get the ice cream. But that would be wrong.
I have been to Ivanhoe's. I do like their food.
Yeah, it's a great place. And also, as you heard, 50th anniversary coming up this summer. I think we'll find a way to get Crossroads there. You may not be around, or we'll drag you around. I don't know.
We'll see. Maybe I'll make a special appearance for that episode.
50 years in Grant County. You can't talk wonder of Grant County without Ivanhoe's.
It's a staple
in the conversation. And I like to be there in January, February, March, doesn't matter. We want you to know that we value your input on this show. If you have ideas for stories or places you'd like us to go, winter, spring, summer, or fall, why don't you email us crossroads@nwest.edu. That's crossroads@indwes.edu. And you can also send those tips to us by a letter or a postcard, WIWU-TV, 4201 South Washington Street, Marion, Indiana, 46953.
Or you can watch past episodes and check out all of our local programming by visiting our website. It's WIWUTV.com/crossroads. That's WIWUTV.com/crossroads. And while you're on the web, feel free to check out our Facebook and Twitter pages. You'll get a behind-the-scenes look at what we do here. That's Facebook.com/WIWUTV. And follow us on Twitter at WIWUTV.
As we said earlier in the show, just because it's winter doesn't mean there's not lots of things going on, even if they're indoors, and we want to get to many of them.
And we will, because even though, like you said, spring is around the corner, I'm excited and anxious to get out of my room and doing something. So I'm ready.
Eat some ice cream.
Yeah. Maybe
go.
one day it'll just change like that.
Well, whether you love ice cream or not, for everyone who worked on this show, thanks for watching. I'm Randall King.
And I'm Shaylee Clark. The Crossroads of Life bring people together, and that's what we try to do here each week.
So long, everyone.